It's 5 after. We'll go ahead and get started. Guys, my name is Dustyn Arney. You know I work with Don at Mass Mutual. I met Don through the fraternity, but I had another business at the time teaching a continuing education class on identity theft. It's a 2-hour class that he's asked me to talk to you about in 15 minutes. So I hope you can listen fast. Who here knows what identity theft is? Okay. How many of you know somebody who's been a victim of identity theft? Okay. Somebody give me a story. Quick.
My wife had a AT&T account opened up in her name and didn't find out about it until we tried to buy our first house.
Nice. Anybody else?
The Target scam, my sister was pregnant.
Nice. Anybody else? We'll go one more.
Somebody tried to use my credit card somehow in Florida.
Did someone say Schnucks?
Okay, so we're actually 4 for 3 now. We're 4 for 4 on financial identity theft. Financial identity theft is one of 5 types of identity theft and is the least of your concerns. You actually hit on the actual financial identity theft. The rest of you are talking about credit card fraud. It's completely different. You call your bank, it's really inconvenient, right? They mail you another credit card, you have to wait a day or 2 to get it, then you have to call them back and turn it on. It's a real pain in the butt, I know. But what you had, I had a client who took her daughter down to enroll her in college and found out that she had 2 foreclosures and a bunch of unpaid utility bills on her credit and couldn't get student loans. That's financial identity theft. The other types of identity theft are a lot scarier, and I do mean a whole lot scarier. If you're not on your way to jail or dying in a hospital, you're probably not a real victim of identity theft. Medical identity theft is one of the scariest ones out there. I told you I was going to scare the crap out of you for lunch, and I'm sorry. But it really does work this way. Someone checks into a hospital in your name, could be any myriad of reasons, right? Maybe they don't have medical care or whatever, they don't have health care coverage or whatever it is. Maybe they're just embarrassed, like happened to a client of mine. But your medical records get changed. Anybody here familiar with HIPAA laws? Probably everybody that wears contacts or glasses at least. Anybody else who's been to the doctor has signed this form. The HIPAA regulations say that you can't see another person's medical information without their express permission. It doesn't say you can't see inside of someone else's medical file. So when the hospital finds out that your information is inside of their medical file, or their information is inside of your medical file, they will lock you out of your own medical file and won't let you into it. You'll be in court with a judge for years, paying attorneys, trying to unlock your own medical file, hoping that you don't show up needing a blood transfusion and they have the wrong blood type recorded in there. That's medical identity theft. There is criminal identity theft. Now, most of the people in this room are going to end up with a professional license of some kind. I know, Phil, you've got, how many licenses do you carry?
Right now, 2.
Right now, 2. I've got 3, 4. Anybody else plan on being accounts, finance? Yeah, a lot of you? Okay, you're going to have to get a license of some type. Do you know what happened to that license if you were convicted of a felony? My business partner and I had a client in Kansas City, Kansas, who was a physician. Well, she was a chiropractor. She was married to a physician. Someone in Michigan used the physician's name to get a driver's license, a fake driver's license. If you get a fake driver's license that says McLovin, the cop's going to know it's fake, right? So when you get the fake driver's license, you get a real person's name, a real person's address, a real person's driver's license number, and your own photo on it, which is what the guy did. He was then convicted of a sexual deviant act on a minor, bailed out of jail, and of course went back to court, right? No, that's the purpose of being an identity thief, right? You get the ID in somebody else's name, you bail out. Whose name does the warrant go in? So in the course of serving this warrant, the hospital finds out they have a convicted sex offender on their payroll. How long do you think this doctor had his job? Nope. And then he got home to find Child Protective Services at his house talking to his wife, telling her that in the state of Kansas, it's illegal to have children present in the home of a convicted sex offender. Her attorney advised her, and I don't know if it was good advice or not, but her attorney advised her to divorce her husband, set him up in a household at least 3 miles away, and pretend he never sees the kids or she was going to lose custody of them. That's what identity theft is. And those are the different types of identity theft that are out there, and people don't know about it, they don't think about it. There are things that you can do to protect yourselves, even as students. Because I had a client, a guy who was 35, just had his 2nd kid, right? He's married, just had his 2nd kid. He bought a house and he started thinking about life insurance. He needed to get life insurance. So he goes to somebody like me or Don, fills out the application, does everything he has to do to get life insurance. They pull his medical record, and his medical record says he's HIV positive. Now he's on the insurance company, he's on the phone with the insurance company saying, no, I'm not. Meanwhile, he's got his wife in the other ear, honey, no, I'm not, So he's got to fight this, he's going to burn this candle at both ends, trying to fight both battles. Turns out when he was in college, had a roommate who wanted to get the HIV test, but was, I don't know if he was embarrassed or afraid of the results, or if he was planning on getting life insurance later. I don't know what his motives were. But he went through the other kid's financial aid paperwork, got his social security number off of it, and went down to the free clinic where they weren't checking IDs. Failed the test. And then 15 years later, this guy's trying to get life insurance and can't. Again, under HIPAA regulations, when he calls the hospital and says, hey, somebody else's information is my file, they locked him out of his own file, cost him about $25,000 to get that straightened out. It took about 2 years of his life just to get that done before he could even get life insurance. Fortunately, he survived all of that and was able to get life insurance and protect himself and his family. But those are things that actually happen in college. Protecting your passwords. Somebody gets into your Facebook account and starts sending death threats to the president from the campus computer that anybody could have logged into, right? How do you think that's going to turn out? So those are things that you need to do to protect yourself. All of my passwords are about 16 characters long. They're uppercase, lowercase, numbers, and special characters. You can use patterns if you want. Just go up the keyboard, hit shift, go across, let go of the shift, go to whatever you want to do, whatever's going to help you remember it. But use that pattern. Make them long, make them complicated. Yes?
Can I add a comment? I do a little bit of IT auditing, and if you've got like a 9-character or less password, it can very easily be hacked within a few hours. So Dustyn saying 16, that's very realistic. That's what we recommend a lot of people have.
Yes.
So Dustyn, some of the financial websites, like a Fidelity or something, some of them don't allow a long password or special characters. What are your thoughts on that?
Get away from Fidelity and call me.
I think it's Fidelity, but I guess websites don't allow a long password, and it's just frustrating to me.
Change providers, but there's the regulatory compliance agencies for a lot of banks and financial institutions are looking at the same things that I would look at, and they're going to force them to go longer eventually.
You'll see a lot of websites you'll go in when you're creating a password. It'll tell you weak, fair, strong, stronger. I haven't actually seen that, but I'm glad to know that because I know somebody that has a Fidelity account right now. I'll have a different conversation with them tomorrow.
It's one of my investment providers, and I'm always so frustrated because it's such a short password that's allowed.
Yeah, definitely talk to them about it because it is a valid concern. So some of the things you guys can do, very simple, shred. Shred. Anything that comes to you with, if it's not an eggshell or a banana peel in my house, it goes through a shredder. I'm not kidding. It goes through the shredder, all of it. Even those stupid catalogs you're all about to start getting because it's Christmas coming up, right? Last year when I got those, they were pre-filled out with my information on the inside to order. Tear that page out, run it through the shredder. Everything goes through the shredder. If you don't own a shredder, they're pretty cheap. But the schools, anybody that lives on campus, the school's probably got a shredder bin, and they've got companies that have been vetted that can be trusted to take those out and destroy them properly. Another thing you can do, and you'll want to write this down, there's a website you can go to called Opt Out Pre-Screen. Opt out, like you're opting out, prescreen.com, because you're pre-screened for these credit card offers that you get. And I know you all got student loans, most of you, which means you're building credit, which means you're getting a ton of these things in the mail. Take our credit card, take our credit card, get our credit card, get this, free that, finger hut, right? We get you this payday loan, $5,000, 226% APR, or whatever. Well, if it's not you applying for it, do you care what the APR is? How many people in here have ever gotten their neighbor's mail? Now, I mean, you know your neighbors better than I do, but do you want them getting your mail?
Does this work for affinity cards like the Delta Airlines Amex cards?
Now, there are some things that you may have opted into through a website that you signed up on or something like that. You'll have to go back and request to be removed from those individually. But this website is actually mandated by the FTC, and it gets your name out of the bucket for the three major credit bureaus, which you'll notice they're not called credit bureaus anymore. They're actually called consumer bureaus. And they don't have credit reports, they have your consumer report. And this consumer report contains everything from jobs you've had, addresses you've lived at, former roommates, known associates. It's amazing. It's astounding the information they have in there. There's actually about 750 of these companies, but the three major ones are regulated by the FTC through this website. And they're going to ask you for some personal information, your date of birth and stuff like that. I put my reputation and my professional license and actually my own health because of my licenses, my addresses on the internet, about 3 clicks. That website is safe and secure. You can go on there and request not to receive that stuff anymore. When you decide you want a credit card, go to CapitalOne.com and ask for it. Go to BankOfAmerica.com and ask for it. See what, shop around, see what your offers are. Here's a little tip that'll put $1,000 in your pocket. Anybody want $1,000? If you get an electronically printed credit card receipt, not like you go down to the, what is it, the caravan, the gypsy caravan, and they do those old clunky machines, right? But an electronically printed receipt, like you get out of the gas station pump, if it has more than 5 digits of your credit card number on it, or any of the expiration date, that business has committed a crime against you and you are entitled to $1,000. They actually owe an additional $2,500 in fines, but if you call me first, I'll just get you the letter, I'll send it to you, and you can take it to them and show them. They'll have their attorney look at it, and he will probably advise them to pay you the $1,000 and fix that before anybody reports it.
So more than 5 digits?
More than 5 digits or any of the expiration. Yep. Yes.
How common is that?
I actually gave one of these talks in a place out in rural Missouri. I won't say specifically which city, but yeah, half the room stood up and started to walk out. Whoa, where are you going? We're going to go buy gas. I said, look, let's be doing it when it's over, and I'm going to follow you. Yes?
Who are you supposed to tell?
The business owner.
Oh, okay. Like
yeah. And if you don't get through with them, you just contact the FTC, and the FTC will address it. You can call me, and I'll tell you to call the FTC so they can address it. So when you're out there and now you're all scared of identity theft, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't mean to keep anybody up tonight, but it is a scary topic. It really is, and you're going to see stuff all the time that's going to be coming to you. When you buy your car insurance or your renter's insurance, they're going to say, "Do you want identity theft protection?" And you're like, "Hell yeah, I heard Dustyn. He said I gotta watch myself, right?" Okay. Well, there's 3 different kinds of identity theft protection, and you need to know what you're getting. It's just like getting car insurance. To say I have car insurance is a lot different from having full coverage. And some people think full coverage is having comp and collision, and other people think it includes having rental car and all this other stuff. And you need to know what these policies are covering. So those ones that are like $30 a year on the back of your renter's insurance policy, that's called a reimbursement policy. And they're great. I have one myself. But it's just that. This is a P&C company. It's a property and casualty company that's issuing this. And their take on absolutely everything is, let it burn to the ground, and then we'll just give you money for it. And they do the same thing with your credit. They're not going to reimburse any of the money that might have been taken out of your accounts. They're just going to reimburse you for attorney's fees, certified mail that you had to send out, long-distance phone calls you might have made, things like that. That's what they'll reimburse. They're not going to reimburse you the money that was taken. Then you get the companies out there like LifeLock that do what's called resolution, where they have a person on the phone that talks you through it, and they tell you what to do and what letters to write and who to send them to and this and that. It takes the average person 600 hours to restore their own identity. That's 15 weeks at 40 hours a week, because these places are only open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5, right? When do you guys plan on working? So even from an employer standpoint, you're looking at your employees, and one of your employees has one of these issues. I mean, do you really think they're clocking out to make these phone calls? Do you think when they get off the phone and accomplish nothing, they're in a great mood and produce well all day long? Would you? So the other kind that's out there is a restoration policy. And through all of my experience, I've only found one company that offers it. And they actually cover not only your credit, but they also cover your medical, your driver's license, criminal, anything that comes up, they know. They'll let you know about it, and then they go do the work for you to restore your identity. But when you get a policy, and they're all about the same price. Every one of them is about the same price, except for that reimbursement policy. It's $30 a year. The rest of them are going to be $20, $25 a month. But totally worth it. Yeah.
How common are these other types of identity theft?
More common than you think. More common than you think. The identity thieves actually got so bold as to have a conference in the Ukraine about 6 years ago, where people flew in from all over the world to learn how to do this stuff. I think it was CNN. I can't remember specifically. I think it was CNN did an expose on photocopiers. Every copier, every digital copier that you've seen has a hard drive in it that stores every image that has ever been on that platform. And these things, 80% of them get sold out of the country, usually towards the Ukraine area. So CNN went in and they did this expose. They bought 3 of them for $900, $300 a piece. Took them back to see what was on the hard drives. And while they were booting them up, they raised the lid, and on one of them, still on the glass, was a list of suspected sex offenders from the Boston Police Department. And not even convicted, just suspected. I mean, can you imagine what this could do to somebody's reputation if they just had their name on this list, even if they had never done anything, right? Your information's out there. I mean, how many people have your Social Security number? Who here lives somewhere? All right, you gave somebody your Social Security number. Who here has a phone? You gave somebody your Social Security number. Insurance? Anybody drive a car? Gave your social? It's everywhere. Everywhere. So you can't prevent it. If anybody ever uses the word prevent identity theft, they're lying to you. I'm going to tell you that right now. LifeLock got sued for using that word because you can't prevent it. I don't care how much insurance you put on your car, you can't prevent a wreck. You just get the insurance to mitigate the damage and to help recover afterwards. It's the same thing with identity theft protection.
A week and a half ago, I think Post-Dispatch said that LifeLock itself got hacked in referring to helping the security issue of the police and all the first times. So they got hacked. What then?
See, and a lot of you are too young to remember these commercials, but some of you aren't. When LifeLock first got started, the guy used to put his on the side of a truck. This is my real Social Security number on the side of a truck. He ended up with 50 driver's licenses in his name across the country and lost over 30,000 client records when somebody hacked his computer. Look, you can piss off a lot of people. Don't do it to chefs, cops, or nerds. That's it. It's not like they got a date to go on. They're going to stay home and hack your company, right? Yeah.
What types of things will typically ask for our Social Security number, and like, which are okay and which are not okay to provide? Like, what types of things are, yeah, basically. Which ones are trying to like kind of scam you?
Okay. If it's going to ever end up on your credit report in any way, then they're going to need that. Or if it's for employment purposes, anything that's going to affect your taxes. So you're getting a job, you're getting a credit card, you're buying a car, you're setting up a cell phone, you're renting an apartment. All of those things are very, very normal. You want to create a Facebook account, they don't need to know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about sending documentation over email, like scanned documents that have your Social Security?
Don't do it.
There's secure file transfer services out there that most banks and any sort of institution that would need your Social Security number are using. It'll say HTTPS in your internet browser. That's the only way you should ever electronically transmit any sort of sensitive information.
My wife and I even have a system whenever we need that kind of stuff where she will text me a portion of it, email me a portion of it, and then call me and give me the rest. So if any one piece gets taken, they're missing the other two. Yes?
I don't want to pump through it all, but how am I supposed to walk out of this room and live the rest of my life?
I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. You're getting the short. Ask Don about this. Don was glued to his chair. I told everybody they could take a break, and nobody left. It was a 2-hour class that I was teaching. It's really, and I took videos from CNN, a few of them. One in particular, a woman who, Social Security, 71 people in 17 states were using her social security number for work. She got a bill from the IRS for $1 million. For $1 million. One of these people was even collecting dividends from Microsoft. And then when she contacted the IRS to tell them that, hey, I didn't do that, the IRS said, oh, no problem. Of course not. They said,
Yeah,
we tell you how much you owe, and then you prove to us that you don't owe it. Well, how do you prove that you didn't make the money? So they eventually did wipe out her IRS bill, but they also wiped out her Social Security and everything she paid in there because they couldn't prove how much she had paid in. Undid 14 years of work history. And they won't give her a new Social Security number. Yes?
You suggested having like 16 characters for each password, and I know most of us are juggling like 20 or so passwords. How do you suggest we have, instead of memorizing them, is there any way that we could have them, like is there any sort of app that you suggest or any program that we could save these? No?
No. And
How do you save, remember the passwords or have them?
I remember them. If you have to write them down,
Yeah.
If you do have to write them down, create a system for how you've written them down that doesn't say Bank of America is this and Fidelity is 1, 2, 3. And
You need to write them down and put it in a safe deposit box or physically secure it somehow that, if I walked into your office, it wouldn't be sitting there right on a piece of paper. Put it in some sort of locked, because I know it. I can't remember all of mine, but I basically have come up with variations so that I can remember what I need to and don't have it written down.
The system works as well. I'm not kidding. Start at the bottom of the keyboard, hold down the shift key, and go up, 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 over, 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 down, 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 over, over, up, like this. You can literally just take that and shift it over a row, 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 shift it over. It's the same pattern every time. And then all you have to do is remember the starting place for each one of your passwords. And the rest of the password comes to you. Don't let anybody watch you type that in a bunch of times. You'll not figure it out. Yes?
How do you manage your payments? Like, do you do them in the mail or do you have them in e-file and stuff like that? Because that's a lot of personal information that's just getting sent.
And this is my personal take on this. I do as much banking online as I can. The less paper, the better. It's just safer. I mean, they've got it. And I don't even know how they do it. I moved here from Dallas almost 4 years ago. Most of my friends are there. I am regularly online shopping as they get married and they have kids, buying gifts, shipping them to people, different holidays and birthdays. I'm buying stuff. I almost never mail anything to my house. And I get a phone call one day saying, hey, did you try to make a $300 purchase at Walmart online? I said, no. I said, well, what about this purchase and this purchase? I said, yeah, those were made. I said, but you didn't do Walmart. I said, no. Well, we didn't think so. We shut it down. We're sending you a new card. I have no idea how they do this. It was not like abnormal behavior for me, because sometimes I do it on my phone, sometimes I do it on my computer, sometimes I do it on my laptop, sometimes I do it on my other laptop, sometimes I do it on my other computer. Yeah. But yeah, bank online as much as you can. You really are safe there. Yes?
Are there ways to prevent it from getting too extreme? Like an example, getting a lady end up having $1 million. Are there ways checking your credit report and different things like that to prevent it from going too far?
Yes, and only a few of us in the room are going to remember this, but the Social Security Administration used to mail out every year your earned income statement. They quit doing that for a couple of reasons. One, they're begging for it, right? Two, it's a lot in postage. Saved them millions of dollars in postage. Now you have to go to ssa.gov. That's for Social Security Administration, ssa.gov. And you can view yours there. And it's important to do this because you're entitled to your credit report. Oh, write this one down too. Annualcreditreport.com, not freecreditreport.com. That is not free. Annualcreditreport.com. You can get your credit bureau, your credit report from each of the 3 bureaus once a year. So space it out and do it every 4 months. That way you're checking, because what reports to one reports to the other. But do that, and also file your taxes as early as you can in the year before you get up there and find out that somebody else already filed them in your name and got your refund. If you guys got any more questions for me, my time's up. I'm gonna let Wayne jump on here, but feel free to grab me afterwards and we can talk.